Graham Potter's time as West Ham United manager came to an end. He was sacked on a Saturday, on a game day, but they don't play till Monday. And at the time you're seeing this, Nuno has been in charge for that game on the Monday against Everton, as that's right, Espírito Santo has the new job. He's got a big job in the capital, trying to revive this West Ham squad. And it's not going to be easy for Nuno. Not long ago, these won a Conference League. As today's not taking them to that, today's taking them all the way to the Champions League. As yes, people, here we are. We didn't do it too long ago, but a West Ham rebuild here in FC26. And I'm going to say I'm very excited. Very, because the new manager will bring a new style. We do have a huge squad, including youth players like Luis Guilherme. Magassa resigning from Monaco, only 21. Very impressed with him. And his potential same as Potts and same as Fernandes. One of their new signings, as this team on paper looks okay, but we know the full story and we know it's not worked under Graham Potter at all. Given his marching orders, the Englishman, as today we're going to try and make the Hammers the best team with Nuno, and specifically Nuno Espírito Santo challengers. As that's right, he's just signed a contract and we've got a contract to abide by. 3 challenges going, and the first one, it's very interesting. Sign 2 Portuguese players because the manager Nuno is from Portugal, so it's kind of a link to the country he's from. Being a rebuild focused around him as £61 million. That's surely enough to get 2 in, and they have, like I said, just got 1 themselves. Without Nuno even having to say anything, Mateus Fernandes, 20-year-old now, he's got to be crucial to the new Portuguese manager's plans. And with Nuno coming in as manager, obviously we're going to use his formation, which according to Transfermarkt is the 4-2-3-1, and I'm gonna go wide. Definitely on counter-attacking because you saw the pace of Nuno's old team. Nottingham Forest using Hudson-Odoi and Elanga to sprint down the wing and cross it into Chris Wood, who in our case right here is Nicholas Füllkrug, a veteran of a striker I do think Nuno can work well with. Now obviously does push Bowen out wide, but I am going to change this up, and this gives a chance Crescencio Somerville in our starting 11. As I'm going to do this as well with Paqueta, I'm going to move him back. I'm going to introduce Fernandes, and the signing 1 is crucial. It's got to be centre-back. I'm sorry to Igor, he's only on loan, and Max Kilman is a left-footed 28-year-old. I do like him on paper, but I do not think he's having the best season, and we aren't using life points today. We have started afresh. I've given Nuno that luxury, because I obviously wanted to challenge myself, and I'm going to build a Portuguese shortlist of defenders, as here we go. Thomas Araujo we've used previously in Benfica rebuilds, or the one Benfica rebuild, very good. Then we've got Lambert, Liete, Lenetra or Penetra looks very good. However, he is just used to using tall defenders in Murillo and Milenkovic. So maybe this man based in London before, Renato Vega, was with Chelsea. He's actually 6'3", only 21, 76 rated. In-game face as well, I love it, and I just think he's a colossal man-mountain kind of player. Also could filter into DM, as I am going to squeeze him into the squad ahead of Max Kilman. And I'm going to go into Season 1 with this team. Use the rest of the money to go straight into coach management and get a lot of coaches in, because that's what I'm trying this year. I'm really trying to get my coaching correct, to get players to grow. And as you can see, I've gone 8 out of 9 stars with goalkeeping, because Nuno used to be a goalkeeper, and that's a position he may want to work on, especially in this West Ham team. I didn't want to force a transfer over the line, as it looks like Hermansen's gone missing. After reading some West Ham comments online, I don't think West Ham United fans will miss him much, as Vega and Todibo, a decent partnership. Paqueta's played further back. But apart from Jared Bowen, no one's stand out in there overall. We've got Naeth, a Gerd, who's 30-year-old, on loan at Marseille. And I won't lie to you, probably comes back, it probably gets sold straight away, as we've got Füllkrug, Paqueta, Bowen, and Wilson in double digits. Which is good before you realise the ages of the players, all over 28. And I'm not saying 28's old, but come on, we've got to have younger players here. I didn't want to rush it Season 1. And that is a terrible first season in the Premier League. 20 defeats for Nuno in his West Ham tenure. Would he get sacked from this? Probably not, because Graham Potter's already been sacked, but 27, or should I say minus 27 goal difference with 84 goals conceded, which is embarrassing for any team at this level, as we did reach the round of 16, losing to Southampton. A team in the division below. We lost in the Carabao Cup round 3 to Burnley, and we did lose Mads Hermansen, who jumped ship for Real Sociedad over in Spain. Another team that's actually struggling, because if you do want to see them rebuilt, let me know in the comments below. Maybe it comes after this West Ham rebuild. As I want to say thank you as well at this moment in time for 60,000 subscribers. Now we're on the race to 70k, and if you could hit that subscribe button. As second season, no carryover of the budget, and I didn't get an unexpected event, which actually should have told me, but 65 again. Very similar to last year, and one thing I didn't zoom in on is the academy. We have a goalkeeper in Ben Mason, not much potential, but more in Akoyine. Elliot Woods is also here. Reggie Harding sounds like a West Ham name, like hard, West Ham hard. Something you usually associate. I'll get them promoted into the squad, and I'll try and actually use them, as I don't want to change the formation, but I've definitely got to change the personnel nearer to this defense. I'm thinking goalkeeper in Areola. I'm thinking defensive midfielder because Souček's old and Paqueta's out of position. Freddie Potts is a player I do want to get playing at some point in this rebuild. Maybe a loan deal for a season, because this man can be the next Declan Rice. And same with Magasa, not the next Rice, but the next maybe Kante? That would be good, but still I want to sign a CDM, as a lot of players returning back, with money to be made on Alvarez and money to be made on a Gerd. I'm not going to be using those lads, so I'm going to try and get them out before we sign our first player. As here he goes again. I've no idea how he's got this move. Maybe Konate's dropped another stinker, because Liverpool coming in for the Moroccan. And then we've got youngsters going out on loan. We're going to Spezia with Elliot Woods, and Everton with Edson Alvarez, who was on loan at Fenerbahce and just won't be used. So 105 million after only 2 players gone. That's a significant amount of money, as the first position we prioritize is GK. And just because on the contract it says we need 2 Portuguese players, don't think that's the requirement, because this first player is not from Portugal. It is Zion Suzuki, a 23-year-old on a 5-year contract, who for the time being is a decrease in the rating, but we're going to increase it in the midfield. With the first thing we do, moving Paqueta out to left mid, then sell Thomas Souček. I'm trying to loan out Freddie Potts to give room for the big dog. Ruben Neves has been with Nuno before, and you might say Max is at Manchester City. He's made a move up, and he's 85 overall. However, this man has worked with Nuno previously, of course, as his captain at Wolverhampton Wanderers. And City do sit on a midfield of Rodri, of Suso, of Silva, and Kovacic, Nico Gonzalez as well. So he's already made the move over to England from Saudi Arabia. So Ruben, get yourself down south, mate, to the capital. And you just know, although he's just joined, I did make him the captain, which is harsh on this man over here in Jared Bowen. He's Mr. West Ham through and through, but we've got our 2 Portuguese players in, and he has been the captain for Nuno in previous years, with Suzuki now in goal, who's increased a lot. Magasa not. Wilson's been up front, just ahead of Fulkrug, who isn't any better. Not a fan of it, not a fan. But Ruben Neves comes in as our best player. Jared Bowen, 287 rated. At least we should be higher in the league next season. With our lone boys doing okay, we've got Abdullah, who's up to a 67. Orford's done okay, same as Scarles and Luis Guilherme. Even players loaned out to Brighton seem to do okay. 2 of them right there. With George Earthy, the 22-year-old, going on loan to Al Nassr. And Callum Marshall goes to Leicester. I can't believe he's gone to Al Nassr though, Earthy, which is a club in the league where Nuno used to manage. Taking us on to our next challenge, which is Nuno based as well. We've got to now sign 3 players from ex-Nuno managed clubs. Not played, which includes Itidad, Porto, even the rivals Tottenham, who did take Mohamed Kudus, so maybe it's time for revenge. As Freddie Potts has gone out on loan as well, 76 rated is the youngster. Huge potential from the West Ham fans given to him, as Bowen and Marshall top scorers. With Marshall actually playing in the Premier League, he played for Leicester, who did come bottom, but still It's good experience for him as West Ham. We go and finish 11th, which is decent. Above plenty of other teams. But there was chance for a trophy. Losing the FA Cup final to Manchester City of all teams. Then in the Carabao, we were beaten by Fulham. But we could have been in European competitions by winning that FA Cup. But slim margins mean no Europe for Season 3. Oh, it is gutting as I'm going to check for manager changes. Herzler's gone to Feyenoord. Boer comes to replace him at Brighton. Interesting, as there he is getting sacked. And the old manager, Graham Potter's now found a club. He's gone over to Italy to manage Sassuolo. Oh my days as well. I'm glad I kept scrolling down because he was at Chelsea. Yes, Graham Potter got the job back at Chelsea after leaving West Ham United. Crazy work from Todd Bowley. Now that's something I did not expect to see. Him going back to Chelsea, well, it's balmy as I'm going to put our new bench together. Giving us this, we're missing a striker down here and also a CDM, as they're the positions we're actually missing in the first team, which we do need to sign. And like I said, 3 players from ex-clubs of Nuno Espírito Santo. This is a rebuild themed around him, as 106 million we're backed with, as the board are expecting something this season. Because of the final we reached, they want a semi-final, relaxed on that one, but they want us in the Europa, which honestly I'd love ourselves to be in. We do deserve European competition now. As speaking of Europe, the first club I'm going to check is outside of it in Al Ittihad, because Nuno actually managed them for a little bit of time. And they do have decent players like Moussa Diaby, the Frenchman, experienced in claret and blue. And they do have one of my favourite players. Now, we don't need a right-hand-sided player, but Roger Fernandez, absolutely brilliant. And if you did watch my saves in FC25, you'll know how much I love that man. We don't really need him. But when I head over to Jared Bowen, 4 weeks to be a striker. So if we do play him up front, that's the striker position covered. And we could go in for Diaby. But no. Roger. I've got to sign my man Roger. He is my favourite player in career mode in the past 2 years. He's Portuguese, he's pacey, so he fits in with the Nuno tactic and nationality. As after a shuffle around, we've got Marshall, we've got Scars on the bench, and now we've got Bowen up front. Like I said, leaving DM the position needed most. Magasa, though, has potential. Same as the lads that are still loaned out, because Freddie Potts and Earthy, I think, are out for 2 years. Making it hard to actually make a signing, but Ward-Prowse on the bench. I think before we make our next signing, we definitely have to sell some players. But before we actually get doing that, this is the first time I've had this. We've got inside access. Now, someone wants to make a documentary with Nuno at West Ham, which has potential benefits and challenges. Right. Because this is the first time I'm seeing it, I am going to improve or approve the documentary. I'm actually very excited about that. I want to see what it does to our budget, most of all. With numerous deals cooking up to sell players, as you can see right here. I want Ward-Prowse out, Fulkrug, Rodriguez, and Mavropanos. I want them all out alongside our loaning of some youngsters. All before we go and get our next player, the Argentine, which hopefully isn't like Alvarez or Guido. This man is Alan Varela, a player that arrives on a release clause we had to play from FC Porto, which is one of Nuno's ex-clubs, so we are 2 to 3 on that front. We need one more ex-Nuno player, as you can see, a lot loaned out, which hopefully helps our team. Now we have 2 90-rated players here, in Ruben Neves and Bowen, but I'm looking at Roger Fernandez. He is unhappy with only an 81 rating sat by him, and that is because of Luis Guilherme, someone I've never had success with, actually is pushing him out of the team, my favourite player, which is disappointing. And maybe I lost too many players at once because I've got 2 fullbacks. Then we've got a goalkeeper in Areola that somehow played over Suzuki. As you can see, the ratings are so good. And our first loan player, our first 2 are down here. We've got Freddie Potts and George Earthy to come back and cover the bench. Then we've got Abdullah, who can be our backup keeper. Actually got a loan move to Rangers. And then goal scoring, we sorted with Bowen. Could do with a backup striker, but I'm going to trust Marshall for a little bit longer. As the 22 goals from Bowen, however, wasn't enough to get in the team of the season, which, wow. makes us finish 11th. All them good fortunes, plus 12 goal difference, 10 defeats only in the league. It's very disappointing for West Ham United. The promoted club's going back down again, and maybe it's the documentary that's put pressure on our players. I am just thinking out loud, and we drew Man City in the FA Cup, so obviously we didn't get through because Man City are an immovable object. With Arsenal beating us in the Carabao, no European football that means, and Liverpool go and win it. It's only the big clubs winning the big trophies. And the start of the year for me has been contract renewal season, almost 10 million spent of what was a 92 million budget. For West Ham United, who just increased them objectives, because now we've got to win the FA Cup. And also getting the Champions League. Going one further than expected, as I want Suzuki actually playing this season. So Areola's going to get sold, and I'm going to put a decent bench together. Like so, we've got Earthy, we've got Potts and Magasa. I think I'm going to make one of those a centre-back. Probably the latter. As in the team, we just need a player that does fit Nuno's tactics now. I'm not really thinking rating as much, but he is the lowest in Lucas Paqueta. He's only got 77 pace, and when Nuno coached Nottingham Forest. As I said previously in the video, he loved to have his wingers pacey and on the counter-attack, which we are playing, and here's an idea. He submitted a transfer request for some reason. But El Hadji Malik Diouf, he could only take 7 weeks to be a left midfielder with 88 pace, 90 dribbling, he's physical, he's got 5-star, 5-star. Maybe the winger's under our nose. Then again, I'd like it to be Roger Fernandez. Or even Somerville, he could be our winger, but he's now 26, only 81 overall. Destined to be a bench player, as I'm just hoping this man is not. Because he's honestly one of my favourites, the 5'5" miniature pocket rocket. He just ain't gonna do it for us, as we need one more ex-Nuno player. But Nuno started his career actually coaching Valencia. His first big job after Rio Ave in the 14-15 season was with the Spaniards. So I am going to be checking them over any English clubs because they do have decent rated players. Javi Guerra, I think we've signed before already on FC26. I'm going to be staying away from him for that reason. And then Pavlovic, we do have DMs. We've really got to scrap for a player here, as maybe Duro is just the option. We've got another right back on the bench in Walker Peters. So yes, Hugo Duro. It still leaves us with a big wad of cash to spend. As you can see, 53 million. We did actually overspend on Duro, leaving the last objective just to win that Champions League. And now, 53 million, we've got to try and sign someone obviously of the quality to get in it. And despite training other players there and Paqueta himself to be a left mid, I think this man fits the bill perfectly for a Nuno pacey side. Getting his Premier League move after a bit of coaching from Cesc Fabregas, Hussein Diao, or I like to call him the next Sadio Mane. And finally, we've done it! We broke the mold of the top four. I knew a wonder kid would do it. And 4th place, we only just sneak in there ahead of United and Newcastle. Newcastle are always a threat in career mode. I'm working that out very soon. And City are always dominant. Then again, only 8 points off them. Brighton reached the semi-finals. As for us, we lost to Newcastle in round 3. By the way, I love the feature that it just takes you to exactly where your team is when you're simming through the cup competitions, as in the Carabao, City again, our bogey team, as we know the only aim we have now is to win that Champions League. And look at some of the ratings, also some of the originals. We've got Diouf, Todibo, Wan-Bissaka, Guilherme, and Bowen and Fernandez, I guess, because Fernandez just signed from Southampton, making it 6 of our 11 actually here from the first place. Nuno's turned this around himself, and 3 of the 4 defenders are actually West Ham defenders in real life. Might look to replace some next year, as Gabriel Vega. What a signing. 89 with them stats of 90 defending and 91 physicality with decent passing, dribbling, pace, not so shooting. We loaned out a few players as well in the youngsters, and we have a change in position for one of our players. It's Magasa going to centre-back, a player experienced in the Champions League or with a Champions League ex-club in Monaco, as Bowen scored the most. Diao made an impact, same as Guilherme. As Eddie Howe's in charge of Man United, I didn't realise that, but I want the team of the year to hopefully have some West Ham players, and we've got 2 in Bowen and Asendiao. Glorious, just like our Champions League budget of 168, to go alongside our expectations of actually winning every trophy we compete in. Apart from the Carabao where there's no pressure, but there's pressure definitely for Nuno here. Obviously he was sacked, I would say unfairly, by Nottingham Forest. As where do we go with this team here? Todibo, Suzuki, Varela and Wan-Bissaka, all players on fraud watch? But I feel bad actually saying fraud watch. Wan-Bissaka is 31, however, and Todibo 29. I think centre-back we fix up first with the bench looking like this. I absolutely love it because our lowest rateds are 2 actual academy players in Scarles and Freddie Potts. We've got Paqueta on there who's 31, then Roger and Duro, so Champions League quality I'd say, all over the rating of 80. Yeah, centre-back is the position we need, and Vega with a submitted transfer request. He is 6'3", like I said. Nuno likes his tall defenders. And Todibo's actually 6'3". I didn't know that. What's the size of cells? Well, his old goalkeeper at Nottingham Forest, the shot stopper, was 6'2". Suzuki's 6'3". That's the only thing I'm trying to think of now, going for Nuno-type players. And these all seem to actually fit the bill of being tall at the back, having 2 decent wing backs who can do all the work, decent keeper, then speedy wingers. Maybe the CDMs have to be fixed. Neves is 32. So yeah, I'm going to go away from Todibo, focus on Varela, and try and get a replacement in there. And I would have liked it to be Freddie Potts, but especially chasing the Champions League, I do not see him as the required man. We've got Ezekiel Fernandez over at Leverkusen, a left footer. Now, it doesn't really matter what foot they are because Neves has his 5-star weak foot, which he definitely liked to show off when he scored his goals at Wolves previously. And then there's Anglo Stiller, who's been linked with a huge move, I believe, to Real Madrid at one point, and he does remind me of a Declan Rice. And this man's actually an out-and-out left footer, so I'm going to bring him to West Ham United to go into the left-hand slot with Neves right there. Still, we've got so much money that I do think we focus at fullback because they were so crucial to his success. Nuno's, that is, at Nottingham Forest. Nico Williams and Ola Ina, they ran the show at Forest, and there is Elias Baum. It's going to be hard to get this man over the line. I'm probably going to offer 75 million to entice the Naples defender away from crazy Conte to join Nuno Espírito Santo. Yeah, at least it's not Raum, it is Baum. He's got 92 pace, 80 dribbling, 83 defending, so he's a going forward one. Reminds me a lot of Olai Ina, so that's the reason we signed him. And this team has 90 rated all over the shop, and it's unrecognisable for West Ham to have Duro, Fernandez, Paqueta still here, Varela, and then we've got Magasa and Wan-Bissaka. On the bench is the DR Congo International at an 87 rating, as when we flick to the best, it's El Hadji Malik Diouf. Personally, I remember his performance really good against England in one of the recent, I think it was just an international friendly they had at the Forest ground, as Bowen was our top scorer, followed closely by Mateus Fernandez, and I'm just spotting a theme. We've got Assane Diao from Senegal and Diouf, so for once we've got a green link down our left-hand side. A Senegalese link, which is really not something common. Never seen it done before, as there we go, we are in the Champions League for next year. If we don't go and win it with our team, with all the 90 plus ratings, we finish in 2nd place. Manchester City just seem unstoppable. Unstoppable as Crystal Palace win the FA Cup like in real life. And us? Oh, the rivals. Do not like that as a defeat. At least Liverpool beat us in the Carabao Cup. So it's understandable and doesn't knock my confidence for the Champions League phase, finishing 6th. Bilbao at the top, or Athletic Club they like to be called. We beat Milano 2-0. The next round we beat Paris by 5-3, winning in their backyard. And same with Barcelona to beat them 5-4 in the semi-finals to give West Ham United a final against Dortmund. And this is key, or should I say these are key, in Stiller and Baum, both signed from Germany. But for this finale, we will be without Ruben Neves, our 90 rated captain, going into the reserves. That's a silly place to be in, but at least now onto the bench is the West Ham youngster Freddie Potts. We've made a lot of change here happen at West Ham, but this is a huge game. Not a fan of the BVB kit, and hopefully not a fan of their team. I can't lie to you guys, I've got really used to playing on co-op camera as well, so back to the telly broadcast. think it gives you guys the best view of seeing the players as Joe Bellingham on the ball still for them. Very decent footwork. Don't know if that was really a shot, but this team should be good from building from the back. We've got the ratings, hopefully the confidence, and a playstyle plus on Stiller. As now we need to go to this right-hand side. Luis Guilherme returns it into Fernandes. A 1-2 with Bowen, who doesn't really have the legs, so Fernandes has to do all the running. They do have Donnarumma in goal. That is going to be tricky to beat, but here we go. Link up of wingers. We've definitely got pace on the outside. Just needed to play that ball across. Willian Pacho with the tackle, but then Diouf clears, and Renato Vega, he can step into the midfield. As there we go. 98 pace on the wing. Can he do a Hudson-Odoi? Which, of course, worked for Nuno at Forest. As another brilliant save, and to be fair, we've got 2 6'3" defenders, and Diouf was the man to head it. I don't think he's the tallest himself, and it's really good opening pressure from us. Stiller into Debo, and Bowen, he dances around. It's Jared Bowen for 1-0 Hammers, hammering it into the bottom corner and doing his iconic celebration. Back with the captain's armband and back amongst the goals. He spins off William Pacho and drills it bottom bins, making the most out of our early domination, as now we need to just get playing. Varela into Stiller. That's a pass through the middle, and Jared Bowen tries to dink it over the top, and Diao is in behind here. It could be 2. It is 2. The number 26 with the finish. Absolutely sensational from the wonder kid hiding at Como. If you haven't signed him in Korea, just look at that for a finish. It was glorious. Could it be 3-0 before halftime? We do have the quality in this squad and the pace. It's Nuno's tactic. Apart from the striker, Bowen really isn't a target man. Much like Jimenez was, of course, with Wolves and Chris Wood at Forest. As now, second half, we need to get charging. Luis Guilherme. Dortmund trying to step it up because they need 2 goals to actually get back in this, but they've really been bad in the middle of the field as Fernandes. Snapshot. So close to the next one, and we do not want to concede right here. Diouf being rounded. Big save Suzuki in our goal, who's been quite bored. I'd blame the lads for not marking, but apart from that move, we've been brilliant. And Bowen, oh, he could have gone through the middle, but he's gone out wide into Luis Guilherme. If he drives this low across goal, of course it was going to be a third for West Ham United. If you saw that passing stat, so many more than them. And look at the long name he's got. Still, it's 3-0 to them Hammers, and at least the fans are seeing good football. A convincing win here against... oh my days, what a finish from Bonnie. I think them celebrations are a bit over the top, because this is a convincing win for Nuno Espírito Santo. As I don't usually do this, but let's put the trophy in the cabinet, whilst Dortmund went ahead and celebrated, because honestly, I knew we'd had that wrapped up. We felt dominant from the off, and of course it's going to be Jared Bowen lifting that trophy. Didn't need Ruben Neves, but imagine if we actually had him in the team. It could have been 5, could have been 6, could have been 7, like my Club Grimsby won on my birthday at the weekend. As again, thank you for 60k subscribers. That was a nice birthday treat, but if you want to treat even further, yourselves that is, click here for another video recommended to the channel.